And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success Morning Coffee. Got something kind of cool to talk about. We have a sponsor. We have two sponsors, but the second one we'll have to introduce on Monday. But if you're looking to refinance your house, please call Sean Loveland at Castle & Cook, 208-447-7205. Let him know that I sent you, and he will help you with some down payment assistance and things like that. Right now is a great time to refinance. I was talking to Sean yesterday because we're going to refinance this house here shortly because interest rates are going down. And it's actually a point lower than when I financed this house in the first place, which will save you a ton of money, but it sounds like it's going to be going down a little bit lower. But if you have a higher interest rate and you want to get that done, give Sean a call, 208-447-7205. He's licensed in Idaho and Oregon. Super cool to actually have a sponsor. I have a couple of them. I forgot my product, but we'll talk about the second one because the other one's a really good one. It's Magic Mind, if you've ever heard of Magic Mind before. But they are like an energy shot that you drink like with your coffee, things like that. It has nootropics in it, which really help with everything and a lot of that brain power stuff. The nice thing about it is kind of like, you drink a Red Bull and you get that crash, or some people drink a lot of coffee all day throughout the day, and this actually gives you more of a buzz, if you will, throughout the day and helps you focus and think. I don't know if you guys know what nootropics are, but I've actually, it's like lion's mane mushroom and things like that are very helpful for your brain. One of my friends basically said it was kind of like, if you've ever seen that movie Limitless. Oh my gosh, I don't have lights on. Hold on one second here. Oh, that's better. Now you can see me. I'm not in a dark room. A little bit better. But yeah, mushroom stuff, the lion's mane mushrooms and things like that, it's pretty crazy. So anyway, everything that we try to do on this show is about moving forward and being better at the things that you do every single day, right? And I was thinking about it this morning, and what should we talk about? What are some of the things that would be helpful? What are the things that I think about? And it's funny, I was introduced to this thing called a growth mindset when I was teaching. And it was funny, I was introduced to it. Like I probably talked about this in college because I remember Carol Dweck. And she has a book, about growth mindset, which she's a psychologist and, whatever, it is what it is. And, but she talked about this growth mindset and like how you get where you need to get. And there's a bunch of different things about it, but here's the definition of a growth mindset. A growth mindset describes people who believe that their success depends on time and effort. People with a growth mindset feel their skills and intelligence can be improved with effort and persistence. Sound familiar? Sound like something that we talk about every single day? About being better, about having a growth mindset, about wanting to improve. People with a growth mindset feel their intelligence and skills can be improved with effort and persistence. So what does that mean? That's a person who doesn't quit. That's a person who doesn't stop. That is a person who moves forward every single day. We talk about that all the time. And I tell you a lot of times that these are things that I use in my life. And I'm just here to kind of share with you how they are helpful for me. Because I think that a life of self-improvement is crazy. It's one of those things that you have to be you don't have to be born with it. You can be trained into it. You can want to be better at everything that you do. And sometimes it can be detrimental. And sometimes you need to take a break. And sometimes you need to just kind of chill out a little bit when it comes to it. But having that same focus in mind, and I think what I'm finding is that I've become more patient with the way that I do that. And I think about this studio, for example. I always try to look and see what the lesson is involved in the way that things go and why they take time and how they are built. Camera backwards. Sorry, my Shaping Success logo is not right in line with my nose. It drives me crazy. But wanting to be better at everything that you do every single day. And the studio was kind of that way. It's like, it looks great. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that. But it didn't go as fast as I wanted it to. But I realized that taking my time and having a little more patience made it better. And it's not done yet. I mean, it's livable, right? There's things that I want to add. If I interview someone super cool, they're going to get their picture put up there. Like I have this back corner over here this is like the first interview I ever did was in a barber shop, and it's on YouTube. If you go all the way down, I think I uploaded 1,000 videos so far. It's there. And then you can't see it right now, but over above that is a poster of Josh Coburn, who I interviewed as well. And then that chair over there, that's my grandfather's chair that had been sitting in an old shed and looked like garbage that I sent and I had refinished by Dale's Antiques. He did an awesome job refinishing that for me. And it's my grandfather's chair that he actually sat in when he worked at the Parks and Recreation Department in Salinas. So really cool to have those stuff. But, Richard, it's amazing. I have to tell you, you have to appreciate what you're going through right now. So Richard, the Men of the House podcast, if you guys haven't, go and follow that. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts. It took time. And if you go back and if you want to see what it looked like before for me, you can go back and you can look. Actually, the first episode's on YouTube as well. My first podcast episode was in my garage on one of those tables you get from Home Depot with another person. Actually, my first podcast was the one in the barbershop, but like the first time that I ever decided that this is going to go out all the time, I'm going to do this, was in my garage at a table talking with another person with an iPad in front of us recording, iPhone, 2 iPhones actually going live on Instagram. I mean, it wasn't this. And then I moved into my office, which was just kind of an open room staring at a computer. And then next thing you know, I started to improve little by little. And the thing is it won't be, it's not cheap. I have little by little done it, but it will get better, and just continue to do it because you'll be able to get a few things here and there and make it happen. But again, this just boils down and pushes right into the growth mindset like we're talking about. People with a growth mindset feel their skills and intelligence can be improved with effort and persistence. So if you want it bad enough, no matter what you do, it's going to happen. Okay. So here are 5 characteristics of a growth mindset, because this is what you need in order to be able to build on something, right? So again, growth mindset, I've said it 5 times and I just said it 2 seconds ago. Intelligence can be improved with effort and persistence. And you're realizing that you're more than what you are, and you're capable of becoming more and more every single day in every single way. And that's how I look at my life. Okay. Accepts flaws and mistakes as opportunities for improvement. Okay. What do I talk about every single day? I talk about how failure is an invitation to move forward, right? The moment that you decide that failure is something that just gives you a lesson, right? An opportunity for improvement. What is the lesson learned? What can you do? How can you improve the process? How can you make it better? Then you start to realize, hey, failure isn't something that's bad. Failure is something that is actually going to help me. And I'm going to do better this time. I'm going to look through what I did, the process that I took, and I'm going to see I did 5 things and one of them wasn't good. How can I improve that process to make those 5 things better? And then you start to realize that every single day, let's keep adding to that. Let's keep doing better. Let's keep doing more. I was talking to someone yesterday at work about another employee that doesn't work for us any longer, who's like, I'm overwhelmed with what I'm doing. Well, what are you doing? How are you creating it and making it better? What can you do to change that process? My job, right? Like, I have a couple things I have to do this morning, but only because I chose not to do them last night. I go in and I quote a house. I go in, I measure, I talk to the customer, I figure out what they want. Before I get to the next one, I'm already done. If I've sold it, I've quoted it, and I've taken the money, and I've ordered it. And this other individual would be like, okay, I'm going to take down the information. I'm going to go home and make the quote. And then you end up sitting at home until midnight making 5 quotes because it could take time. And then you don't have any time. So I've developed this process that makes things a lot quicker and more efficient. And I'm trying to be more efficient every single day. And I'm trying to be better. So I'm accepting the flaws as mistakes, and I'm taking those opportunities and I'm trying to improve them every single day. It's the same thing with this podcast. Like I'm trying to figure out, I'm talking to Jay. I've tried to change the audio on here because it's a little bit quiet on YouTube. But the problem is that video and audio need to be edited differently, and I don't have time to edit every single episode. So I'm trying to find sound settings that are in between. So it sounds good on the podcast, good on the YouTube. And people don't understand this, but when you're looking at someone and you're listening to them talk and you see the video, it's a lot different than just hearing, because you actually see the person and it doesn't sound so quiet because it doesn't need to. Okay. So number 1, 5 characteristics of a growth mindset: accept flaws and mistakes as opportunities for improvement. I know I said that really fast, but I've said it before a couple of times, and we'll go back through these at the end. Recognizes setbacks as part of the learning process. Okay. That goes in hand. There is a setback, right? Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the hamster wheel, about running on a hamster wheel. And then all you're doing is running in circle. You're not getting anywhere. I view that as a setback, because if you're not going forward, you're only going in the place that you're at. Sometimes you have to get off to move forward, to get out of the hamster wheel and keep going. Okay. So a mistake happens, just like we talked about. Here's the process. There are 5 things that I did. What was the one thing that I did wrong? How can I improve that? How can I make that better? You know, maybe you're turning a wrench and you're like, oh man, I rounded off that head. Well, you were probably using the wrong size wrench, and maybe you ought to try a different one. How can you improve that? You got the nut off the bolt, but you ruined the nut in the process. Okay. So now it's like, oh, maybe I was using a metric one. Maybe I need to move to a standard one. Maybe that's not the size that I thought it was. How can you improve it? Okay. So number 3, sees intelligence as something that can be developed. So when I was teaching, my mentor teacher, or my side-by-side, the person that I was working with, my 3rd year of teaching, I ended up having to teach senior project. I was a PE teacher, but I wanted to go to this other school. And in order to get there, I had to teach out of class. Okay. And I was teaching senior and junior project. And my coworker, Kelly Cook, I'll never forget, she introduced me to so many different things. And these things that I have are things that I do, like I was telling you, but didn't realize there's all these things that tie into it. The brain is a very, very powerful thing that we don't understand. But you see the intelligence as something that can be developed. I want you to think about this. There are people in this world who have issues. And there's this video that we watched and we showed to the kids of this little girl who had seizures nonstop. Okay. And they were coming from one lobe of her brain. All right. And the seizures just wouldn't stop. So they took out the one lobe of her brain. Okay. And you think, oh my gosh, they just took out this lobe of this brain of this kid. How's this kid going to survive? Your brain is super powerful. It can do all these things, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, your brain sits inside your skull, and it has some fluid inside there that keeps it from banging into the skull so that you don't get concussions all the time. So the body adapted and decided that it was going to fill that other side that didn't have the half of the brain that was in there before with that fluid that's in there. And then all of a sudden, she started to develop that side more and more and more, and everything was better, no more seizures. And she went on to graduate high school, college, did function normally. So if you think that you're just dumb or stupid and you can't make it happen, that's a bullshit excuse. That's all I can say. Because if that kid can get half the brain taken out of the head and still function and become more than what they were before, you can too. Okay, so intelligence is something that can be grown. You have to be willing to do it. What can you do? Terrible math student right here. I hate math, and I had a growth mindset about the way that I did it, and I got through it. I didn't get all the way where I wanted to get, but the thing is it depends on how much effort you put into it, how hard you want to work at it, what are you going to do, okay? Because I could have just said, screw this, I'm not doing math, like I did in high school, went to college, had to start at a math that was lower than the high school math to get started, to get to the math that I needed to get to. The choice is yours, okay? All right, so embraces challenges and even probable failure. How many times do you go into a process? You know, it's funny. I was playing cards with my daughter last night, and I'm so competitive that no matter what, I know I could lose to her, but I'm not going to let her win. That's my mindset. And she's a 10-year-old. I'm 43. That's how competitive I am. I'm teaching her how to play the game speed. I know how to play the game. She doesn't know how to play the game. I beat her. I teach her again. I beat her. Third game, she beats me. She knew that she could do it, but she had to be willing to continue to keep going. Okay. People who embrace challenges like that will go much further, knowing that they can fail, but don't want to, but want to keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, keep trying to make it happen no matter what. Okay. Lynette, what's happening over on TikTok? Again, morning coffee. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. You can watch it here on TikTok. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it on, it's not on Instagram yet. I need to get that set up. You can watch it on, I think it's on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe to wherever you're watching. Just make sure that you turn that little bell on so you can hear this every time. We're talking about a growth mindset, okay? Embraces challenges even though you might fail. So failure is part of the process a lot of times, okay? The last 5 characteristics of a growth mindset, tweeter. It is on Twitter. This, I feel like, is one of the most tough ones for anyone to listen to, okay? So I'm gonna read the other 4 again just so you can kind of hear and listen and kind of maybe guess. I'll give you some guesses of what you think is coming up, all right? Accepts flaws and mistakes as opportunities for improvement. That's number 1, okay? Recognizes setbacks as part of the process, okay? Learning there's going to be setbacks. Sees intelligence as something that can be developed so you can improve, you can be better no matter what you want to do. You embrace challenges even though they're going to fail, even though you possibly can fail, okay? So you're not scared to do something because you're afraid that it's not going to happen because like we talked about, there's fear of failure and there's fear of success. What will happen when I'm successful? What will happen if I fail? And the very last one, and I'm going to tell you how I would tie this in right now because I always take my life and I think about how I've used this in my life. And I've recently used this in one way, open to feedback. I have been podcasting for 5 years, okay? And I am not an expert in podcasting. People always say that they're an expert in everything. And I think if you say you're an expert, that basically means that you don't need to improve anymore. And that's my opinion on it. And it is what it is. And you can use that how you want. But the reality is that experts want to continue to learn and keep improving and keep being better every single time. So with this podcast, like I said, I've been doing it for 5 years. And I'm always willing to listen to someone give me constructive criticism on how I can improve it. Because it can be better, right? It can be better. It can always be better. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, we talked about the other day how many downloads it has, how many it continually gets. How can it be better? How can I get it out there more? How can I get more people to listen to it? How can I improve my quality? Well, sound is one thing that I've heard a lot of feedback on. And I can say, screw you. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just attacking me. You're not doing it. Like there's all these reasons why I could say, I'm not going to listen to you and try and figure out how to do it. Thank you, Lynette. I appreciate that. But listening to people tell you, hey, this doesn't sound that great. And I had this conversation with my friend Jay yesterday because he's doing a reaction channel on which, more power to him. I don't I'm not into kind of like watching those types of things, but he really likes this reaction channel thing. And he sent me a comment of what someone gave him. He's like, I can't believe this person said, or not, I can't believe this person said it. He has a different thought process on it. He has the process that I think I want to have, but sometimes I can't do it. Like when someone comments on your stuff and they hate on what you're doing, number one, they're either not doing it or they are, and they want to help you be better at what you're doing. And number two, even if you don't like what they say, it doesn't matter because they said something and they actually helped you grow because they're pushing you forward in the algorithm. So the hateful comments that you get, and I got into this a few years ago on TikTok, the hateful comments that you get give you comments and they push you out there more. So it's funny because someone was talking shit about my age and I felt really bad about it and it hurt my feelings and it made me really sad. But that video got like 90,000 or almost 100,000 views. And there were probably 90,000 comments about how good I looked, but there was, 1,000 that said how bad I looked. And you're full of shit. You're tricking yourself. You're confusing yourself. Those types of things. And think about that though. The traction that added to the post to get it out there to all these people who are jealous that this post is going somewhat viral and their posts are not. So it's funny how TikTok works, but that's the thing though. If you look at it that way, it changes your whole outlook. And I was talking to Jay because I don't get a whole lot of comments on my YouTube videos. He gets tons of them. He'll do these and he'll get like 17, 18 comments per video. And I might get one. And I got one the other day on Jennifer Brocksterman, which is the interview that dropped on Monday. And someone commented, boring. And I was like, screw you. And I deleted the comment. And then I started to think about it. And I was like, as Jay was showing me this, it's like, you can respond to them, you can ignore them, but leave the comment there because guess what? Someone might come to your defense about that being boring. It's not boring to everyone. It's boring to that person. And every single person is different. Okay. They look at things differently. That's not really constructive criticism, but you can look at it that way and you can figure out this is what we need to do in order to continue to move forward. That's it. That's what I got for you today. I hope that you found that helpful, but think about what a growth mindset means to you. Okay. How are you growing every single day to be better? And it could be little tiny steps. We talked about it. Where do you want to be? As Arnold Schwarzenegger said in his book, get your camera out, zoom out, and then look at where you want to be. Get out your binoculars, look in the distance, see where you want to be, and then zoom in and look, how are you going to get there? What's it going to take? What's it going to take to move forward? And hit those little small steps and those little small goals every single day, and you will be better at what you do. Exactly. Yep. So, all right. Sorry, I was reading a comment from Nikki over on YouTube, and we'll talk a little bit more. If you guys do know, I hang out on TikTok a little bit after while I upload the episode into the podcast, and we talk a little bit more. So, when you head over to TikTok, you can. I want to thank Nikki and Anna, my Patreons, also my TikTok subbers, Nikki, Vanna, Twisted D, and Michelle. Thank you guys for subscribing to the podcast, subscribing wherever you are at. If you want to join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month, you can do that. Go to westankersley.com, click on the Patreon link. It's actually patreon.com/Wes Tankersley, I believe, or Shaping Success. Anyway, you can find that at westankersley.com. I should write that down. And then you can also sub here over on TikTok as well, or wherever you want. You can shout out. Appreciate all you do. It helps me to grow the show, make it better for you, helps me improve. So until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.